Okay, Sam is going for a walk. Let's see how you went. So she opens the door, comes from right to left. You've gone behind her. That makes it a bit tricky. Now it's quite confusing as to what she's doing. So now she's going from right to left, right to left, right to left. Have her in focus. Right to left. Okay, great. So all those are fine. Get them walking just before they enter the screen, and that will help immensely with them having the right pace when you go to edit. The next one, it works really well with them actually coming out of the door. I like the cut to the feet. That worked great. This one again is going right to left. Just leave it on the feet for a little bit longer. That was quite a short shot. Now you notice when someone cuts with the person walking through, good shot, with the person walking through the middle of the frame, it feels a little bit like they've jumped in the middle, jumped from shot to shot. So how you prevent that is you have them walking, entering one side of the frame and exiting the other side. Good, right to left, nice. I liked the way you showed not just parts of the man in the first two clips. That one as well. They work really nicely. Right to left, excellent. Good. Okay, so ways you can improve your footage is by changing your camera angle. Get it up high, down low, shoot close-ups, shoot wides. Really try and experiment with your camera and get shots that you don't normally see with your eyes. That first shot was great. Good, nice to see her walking through, and you can see the frame is slightly canted. That works well. Oh, nice bird's eye. So the differing shots really help make the film more interesting. Oh, great. So we get a really nice shot of just very faintly of her face before she opens the door. That worked well. A nice dolly shot. Just if you have a dolly shot or a moving shot, allow them to walk in, move with them, and then and then allow them to walk out. Really a little tiny stick to trip over. That was acted really nicely. I especially like the way that she smiled at the end. So here she's walking, just for the continuity's sake, she's walking right to left. Really nice filming. Okay, and so when she falls over, actually the camera changes. So here she's walking right to left, she's falling right to left, and so actually we want the camera down on the ground in front of her and her to fall right to left in that shot as well. And so in this shot here she actually falls from the left down to the right. So just watch out for that kind of stuff when you're placing your camera. All the rest is excellent. Okay, now let's have a quick chat about permission. The student says they have permission for the music, which is excellent. In filmmaking, from now on, get written permission, or maybe it doesn't matter so much for this course, but for anything that you film, for any festivals or 48 hours, any of that, you need written permission for every person and every place and every music that is in that film. So practice now, see if you can get all that. That really does help, especially if you're making, for example, an advertisement or something like that, and someone says, yeah, sure, and you do the whole filming and you don't have the written permission, and then they later go, no, I don't want you to have me anymore in that advertisement. So you have nothing to stand on, no legal ground to stand on to say, hey, actually, I've put time and energy into this. You agreed at the start. So when they agree at the start, before you do any filming whatsoever, always make sure that the first thing you do is get their permission in writing. And it's called an appearance release form, or it's a release form for a place, or music release form. So just they're pretty easy to download on the internet, and you have a certain template and formula. So beautiful location. She comes out, she has a little bit of a pause and a breathe. Excellent. Headphones in, we cut to that closer shot. Music kicks in. Nice. So we cut to that closer in shot so that we can see what she's doing, her actions or her expression on her face. Nice. So left to right. Excellent. Oh, right to left, sorry. Just focus on that flower. Nice canted frame. Good variation of camera angles. Excellent. Down low camera. Excellent. So right to left, stills happening through the shot. Yes, excellent. And you can see that as they walk through, they can get closer to the camera and that kind of stuff. That helps immensely.
Yum! Yeah!
Nice sound of that pier as well. Good looking room too. You've left a nice looking room for her to go to the right. That was great. Beautiful camera work. The actress was obviously really into it. Was she listening? Was she actually physically listening to music? Because if she's listening to her best tune, she will boogie on down to it, and that helps. Great. Good, right to left. Nice close-up for the action of opening the door. Interesting. And right to left, nice. Beautiful dolly shot there. I like the way that the movement of the dolly slowed down at the end, allowed for smoother editing. Ha! What a tricky gate! And she's got it sorted. Excellent. Again, really nice camera movement. Right to left. Right to left, nice, and she comes really close to the camera. Good, brilliant. So the students said they learnt with this exercise to look out for details which may seem obvious, such as the line the actor is walking, taking that into consideration, also taking into consideration shadows and even cracks in the path. So for continuity, all those kind of things line up and it all helps immensely. So left to right, just let her walk out of the frame. Good canted frame. Now when you are looking at the rule of thirds, go for things like horizons or lines on the pavement and things like that. They really help with the rule of thirds. So any lines, preferably don't have them through the middle of the horizontal space. Good. Just allow for a little bit more time for her to walk in and out of the shot, and that'll help immensely. So you can see the different camera placement, and we haven't seen her head yet, but we actually see her body. Looks like she's shielding her eyes from the sun, but also it's quite mysterious. Nice low camera placement. All these add visual interest to the shot. Location, camera placement, that kind of stuff, and then you want to watch it more. Ha! Little cat escapes. Good, just a little bit of a wobble at the end with that camera. All the rest has been very solid camera work. Nice. So if you find that you're wobbling with the camera, just make sure that you hold it really solid. Another comment from a student: lining up the steps and making the sound semi-fluid was the hardest part. But I learned quickly that it's much, much, much easier to try to organise all of that when you're shooting rather than afterwards in post. Yes, organise as much as you can before you go out there with the camera. That helps immensely, including letting the actor know what you're going to want from them when you get behind the camera, and then they know easier and they have a smoother time of it as well. So nice ambient soundtrack. Great, right to left. Okay, this is all really, really good, but it's just reminded me of something. So, as this person's walking along, we just see the car. And then we see the car a little bit more. But then it almost seems like she appears in a completely other location. We can see a little bit of the car here, but I'd recommend just filming in this previous shot here. I'd recommend filming or turning the camera a little bit so that we can see some of this space. Where are we? Here, before we cut to this shot. So it just visually introduces a little element of all these browns, because what happens is when we go into all these browns, without really seeing the car, it feels like we're dislocated and in a completely other space. Really nice matching, great. Again with the garden, just have a little bit of the garden so that she walks through into the other space visually in the previous shot. Apart from that, everything is excellent. Now, often I will give tips that haven't been mentioned in the PDF, and that is it's mainly because I watch your films and you've nailed everything in the PDF, and so these are tips for advanced filmmaking.
Go to your room, think about what you've done.
Excellent context for story. Good, he had his head down in the first one, so just make sure that for continuity's sake his head is down in all the rest of them. Haha, great. There was a little bit back here where he walked, kind of a little bit different locations. Great, all the rest continuity is looking excellent. Good, nice. Excellent to have him walk in and out. A little bit of a pan. Good. You could pan a little bit further so that he has that looking room for that rule of thirds, and it was back here. Just double checking this. Okay, that's where it is. So for here, he's walking left to right, and then he enters the middle of the screen and is walking right to left. So put the camera around by the door here, and then when he enters, he'll be able to go right, left to right. That follows all the rest of them. Good, right to left. Nice to have her coming towards the camera. Cat has totally upstaged by its schmooging the ground. That's why you don't film with animals. They upstage everyone all the time. They're like, yeah, check me out, I'm great, I don't even know what I'm doing. So this one here, she's walking directly towards the camera. Good. Just in that previous shot, just have her coming around the corner and then walking towards the camera. That is the sound of wind in the microphone, and I'll take it back just a little bit. That's a really good thing. If you have headphones when you're filming, that helps immensely. If you hear this noise, not the vehicle, the other noise, the deep rumble. That not doing a particularly good job of replicating that. That is the noise of wind in your microphone, so block the wind out of the microphone. Alrighty, great. So we're just over halfway through. Nice soundtrack. Good effects. Oh, I'll just go back for a minute there. Which way did he go? So he looked like he was going to from the right to the left, but actually he sneaks around to the right, so that's great. Left to right. Good. Excellent. It looks snowy. Just have him running in the previous shot, in this shot, running at the start. Crop closer if you can, so that it makes it easier for him to run through. That shot works really nicely acted. Good soundtrack, that works well. So even though it's not essential, you can see that the actors that have a motivation for what they're doing, for example, Go to Your Room, or that guy that was kind of sneaking out and then running away, was more interesting to watch them on screen. Good, nice, kick low camera angle. Excuse me. Good, left to right, left to right, left to right. Left to right. Excellent. This all flows really nice. Good framing. That framing works really well. And when I say framing, I mean composition. Oh, what happened there? I'm just going to take it back. I think Blackboard glitched for a second. Yeah, it did. So he's obviously late for a bit of an important date. Just when you move the camera, here's a great example. So when you move the camera and he's walking, and that works really well, and then I like the way you slowed down the camera movement at the end. If you stop just as that line is at the frame of, at the edge of this frame here, that will provide a really nice almost visual barrier for him to walk into and walk out of, which is what you've done. Just take it a little bit closer just so that you don't see any of the background on the other side, and that's really nice, works well. So I like the way that you've given this guy intention, but what I feel is that he's acting like he needs to be in a hurry, but he doesn't actually know why he's in a hurry. So give him more of a context. The more context you can give them, the better. So what's in the briefcase? Why is he in a hurry? Why is he checking his time and looking behind him? Is he late for something, or is he being chased for something? By something. Ha ha! Great. So if you wanted to introduce the end, I love the way you've done that. What you could do is write it on the pavement, and then you can pan the camera to reveal that. He drops his bag, you lower the camera down or pan the camera or something to reveal that, and then hold it on a steady shot while he runs away. And that could be done in this previous here. Because there's such a wide thing, if you move the camera across like you kind of are a little bit anyway, you could have written that end here, move the camera across, and then as he's running into the distance, we see that end show up in the very front of this framing here. So that end could be just down here. Great. Really nice low camera angle. That works well. And he slips his feet into the shoes. That action worked really well with that as well. Good. Right to left. I thought he was going to go in the opposite direction. Left to right. I thought he was going to go in the opposite direction, but your continuity has been excellent throughout. Good. So this student commented that they think their work is a little bit rougher than they normally do this week, but they managed to hand it in, and that really is what counts, especially if you're working in television, is that you need to get stuff in on time, because those deadlines are very, very tight. Film festivals, everything, getting things in on time matters. Speaking of, this is a little... Oh no! Oh yes, this is late, and thank you very much for your patience, and I will get the other two in today so that we're all up to speed. Good, I'll just start that again at the beginning. Blackboard seems to glitch at the start. Good, nice context. So left to right. At that age, things seem so big and a little, like, cutely clumsy, nicely done. So good. Just a comment about the person. If you have the person or the same size in all your shots, then it feels a little bit like a jump cut. It isn't. And they definitely did, this person did address that. But just try to vary your shots so that the person is a different size in the frame every time, and that helps as well. Oh, I will pause this because it's a different format. Okay, so this is a tricky one to fit into the frame that I have, because the no matter how small I make the window, I can't make it any smaller, and still it's slightly oversized. So there's a little tiny bit at the top and bottom that isn't working. But what I will say also is that for the student, it feels like you're shooting in 4:3. And so unless you're using an incredibly old camera, usually most of them have 16:9 settings. So have a look in your menu and have a look at the settings and see if you can change it to 16:9. Right, let's go from the start. Put your camera on a bit of a tripod, that will help. Nice action from this guy, he's just very cash and quite flexible. Get him to enter and exit the shot, that will help. They look super cash. And obviously you're holding a baby and filming at the same time. That's no mean feat at all. Just double check your camera settings. Give me an email if you want to ask if you have any problems with it. And so they say don't film with animals or children. And this filmmaker commented that shooting with an 18-month-old is tough, even trying to persuade them in which direction to go. Yes, you get some chances of some stunning footage, but you do make it a lot more difficult for yourself. So nice light, that works really well. Good low camera. Good, so the camera's at eye level to her, which really makes a big difference. If you're shooting, it's always good to go eye level. But also, don't forget, you can put the camera down low and high. Now what I see is she appears to be the same size in the frame each time. So that's when you can mix up the shots. I really love the way that she came towards the camera and touched the camera at the end. I'm sorry, they, not necessarily she. I really need to make sure that your feedback is non-gender specific. It's 2018 now. Alrighty. Okay, so we've got another, I think another 4 more after this. Oh, what happened there? It's Blackboard again, wasn't it? It was! Damn you, Blackboard! They've only just started allowing me to be able to mark movies inside Blackboard, so the glitches are a little bit tricky. I just have her walking around the edge of that building, and that will help the flow of the continuity. You've got the screen direction all sweet from left to right, that works well. Just have her walking out of the frame as well. Oops. Good. Okay, for this student, just make sure that you label your films correctly, and even after you've exported them, you can still click on your film and the words and relabel that there. Good, nice transition from the inside to the outside. Left to right, left to right. Okay, so just let him walk in and out of the shot and vary your camera angles and your close-up, far away, wide. Just vary your shots more. Good. Left to right. Nice, she appears from behind something and walks towards and through that whole shot. That worked well. Now the student has mentioned that they can hear the wind noise. Haha, it's being followed. Just in the shot where she clips onto the dog, you do have enough time for her to walk out of that shot, and then we'll finish that shot nicely. Good, that works well. Now the student also has mentioned that that little grey dog, Fergus, wasn't meant to be following, so they grabbed him and threw him back in the kennel. But that does mean that for continuity, we see that little grey dog following, and then in the rest of the shots, the little grey dog is nowhere to be seen. So do be aware of that kind of stuff. Righty, this is the second to last one. Amazing location. Good, that was good. I would suggest let them walk through each shot. That's a really nice camera setup. Good, same with that. Good. And we have our last one. If you can, put the camera on something to hold it steady, a tripod or something like that, or lock that elbow in and bounce your knees so that you get a very steady shot going on. Good, just have him walking before he enters the frame and get him to walk in and out, vary your shots, which seems like I'm saying that a lot, but there are kind of fundamental basics that it's almost like I need to stop saying them halfway through, because then you can say them to yourself and be like, okay, this is my film, now I know that we need to do those things. So I'm not picking on anybody's film. Hopefully nobody feels like I'm picking on them. These are just points to note and take into the future. Okay, now we are quite a way into the course, so do remember the fundamentals are focus, which has been really pretty good for just about all of you who nailed the focus, and composition. So go back to the rule of thirds, make sure that you look at the rule of thirds, looking room, headroom, and then once you've got those, then you can start varying those shots up and putting the camera in interesting places so that we get some interesting shots. Okay, enjoy.